Hey guys, it's currently Veterans Day. I'm out on a, was going to be longer, but it's going to be a 12-mile ruck today. 12-mile training ruck. I'll let you know why I had to shorten it here in a minute. But the video I want to talk about today, or the topic, is I want to talk about veterans. It's Veterans Day. I want to talk about rucking, and I want to talk about how I believe the veterans community would benefit dramatically from rucking and maybe even rucking clubs around the country. Before I get into that topic though, I want to remind everybody that I am training currently for a 50-mile ruck. The reason I'm doing this 50-mile ruck is to honor my friend Todd Bates, who died in Iraq on December 10th, 2003, while we were there together. He was actually my machine gunner when we deployed the country. I've created a GoFundMe account. Many of you have heard about this. I'm sure some of you that are watching this now have not. If you go to GoFundMe, you type in Todd Bates 50-mile Memorial Ruck, you'll see the account. Last time I checked, we're just under $2,500 in donations. I would really like to earn or raise about $5,000. The money that's raised will be donated to his high school football team, the Bel Air Big Reds, in his honor. As far as I understand, Todd is kind of a big deal to his community. His life and his sacrifice means a lot to a lot of people. He's a role model, somebody to look up to for a lot of kids that are growing up in that small community. I was there, I don't know, 15 years ago when they dedicated a plaque to Todd at the football stadium, and I'm being told that this is unconfirmed, but this is something that I heard the other day from somebody, was that the street that their football stadium is on is scheduled to be renamed to Todd Bates Memorial. So the money that I'm raising will go to his football team, his hometown. If you could go to the GoFundMe and share some of your earnings, I would greatly appreciate it. So when it comes to rucking and the veteran community, kind of the reason I thought about this, well, obviously I'm out rucking, I've been rucking, and I've been gaining some experiences while I'm out here doing these things. And one of the things I enjoy most about doing this kind of training is that you're committed to a long period of time where I'm out here by myself, and it gives me time to think. To me, this is almost like an opportunity to meditate, because I'm out here for 3-4 hours at a time all by myself. My only thoughts are keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. I watch my pace. I do all these things, but I'm solely focused on my task. And the task is carrying this ruck on my back. Today it's about 50 pounds. And one of the beautiful things about this is that it really reconnects me with the things I did when I was in the military. That's kind of where I got this idea. I was watching a podcast yesterday with Sebastian Junger on Cleared Hot. If you're not familiar with Sebastian Junger, he is the filmmaker that made the documentary film Restrepo, where he was, I need to apologize too, I've got a cold right now, so I'm dying. My face looks like crap, got snot running out of my nose, onto my mustache. I feel like shit, so I'm sorry if the video quality isn't great, or if you have to look at my nasty face. But Sebastian Junger, he wrote Restrepo, which is a fantastic documentary. If you haven't seen it, it's a must-see for everybody, where he was actually embedded with a platoon in Afghanistan. I don't want to say the name of the valley because I'll mess it up. I want to say it was in the Korengal, but I'm not 100% sure about that. He's been a combat journalist. Sorry, checking the road. He's been a combat journalist for over 30 years. He's served. He's documented Kosovo, a bunch of places around the world. So he's been in conflict most of his adult life. Then he got to have this experience where he was embedded with some troops overseas, and he recently wrote a book called Tribe, where he kind of documented his thoughts and feelings and experiences while being in multiple combat zones throughout his life and career, as well as his time where he spent basically an entire year embedded with a infantry platoon in Afghanistan, where they were experiencing intense combat the entire time. And some of the basics of what he came to say was that one of the reasons that soldiers struggle so much with what we now call PTSD when they come home is because they lose their sense of tribe. You know, you're over there in this world, you're fighting these battles, you're trying to survive day to day, but the camaraderie that you gain from that, and the sense of belonging to a group of people, is something that you can't experience anywhere else in the world. And he kind of talks about how tribal people back in the day, they would have periods of intense combat and stuff. Like, look at the American Indians out in the West. They were fighting with each other all of the time throughout history. And this kind of combat was about as brutal as combat gets. You know, it was hand-to-hand, spears, tomahawks, bows and arrows, where people didn't just die quickly, they died slowly and painfully with a lot of agony, and it was horrible. And he studied how those cultures didn't have things like suicide and depression and stuff. They didn't have PTSD. Well, one of the reasons is because they lived that lifestyle 24/7. You know, they would go to battle, come home to their family that night. The whole tribe would be involved in the battle. And then when the battles were over, kind of you had to work together to struggle for life, to get food and clothing and the necessities to carry on living, right? Where in our society today, you have soldiers that join the military, join a tribe, go over to a combat zone. Whether or not they're directly involved in combat doesn't seem to be terribly significant when it comes to people suffering from what is diagnosed as PTSD when they come home. But they come home, they get out of the military, and they lose their tribe, you know. Being part of a tribe or a group of people is it's something that we evolved to do. And when you grow up outside of a tribe, but then you join one, the absolute feeling of euphoria and belonging and like just your natural state of being really kind of comes to you. And then when you get out of the military, you're plucked from that environment. And really, it's the sense of loss and the sense of sorrow that you have for being removed from your tribe that causes a lot of people to experience what we now call PTSD. Doesn't necessarily have anything to do with trauma. I believe that wholeheartedly. Now, one of the things that Sebastian Younger wants to do is he wants to start these veteran town halls, where every city would have a town hall center or some kind of building or place where veterans can come and speak to the community, and the community can listen to them, and the community can talk about what they believe about veterans and this and that, and would give everybody kind of an opportunity to talk to each other, get along, and become the fabric of a community and maybe develop that sense of tribe. I don't necessarily believe that is something that would be a significant benefit to our society. I think we already have plenty of opportunities for veterans to speak publicly and talk to people that aren't veterans and this, that, and the other thing. And then for me personally, sorry, someone's calling me. I wouldn't want to do that, you know? I don't want to go and talk to a bunch of non-military people about my experience in the military. Typically when people ask me about my military experience, I don't really talk about it. I'll talk about it when I'm in the mood to talk about it. And that doesn't mean that I'm going to go to some building to do it, whatever. Something that just kind of comes naturally. I can tell you that the times that I really do talk about what I did in the military, my military service, what the military meant to me is when I'm around other veterans. You know, we all have these common experiences. We all kind of know and understand each other. We were all part of that tribe together. Even if we didn't serve together at the exact same time and location, we all shared very similar experiences. And there's a tremendous benefit to veterans getting together, sharing those experiences. Throughout history, they did it in different kinds of ways. You know, there was like the American Legion post and the VFW post and a lot of cookouts and neighborhood events and stuff. Well, those things aren't really part of our society anymore. They still exist, but they're not integral. You know what I mean? So what I think that one thing that would probably be more beneficial would be military veterans like myself getting together with other like-minded military veterans who've actually done some things in their lives, put on a ruck, go for a walk. You don't have to talk to each other. You don't have to get to know each other. You just get up and go. Just the pure act of putting on this ruck and going for miles reconnects me to my thoughts, feelings, emotions, sights and smells, that experience. And it brings a level of satisfaction back to my life that I have a hard time expressing. It's not just being out in nature, but I get to think a lot. But there's also, I think that people need to experience a certain degree of pain and suffering in order to remember how to be human. When you're in the military, you're dealing with pain and suffering all of the time. It's almost like a drug. And then it's another thing that happens when you get out of the military. You lose your tribe, and you also stop the lifestyle that you had, where you had like a daily, weekly, monthly, whatever it was, regiment of pain and suffering. Your life was difficult. It wasn't incredibly comfortable. And then you get out of the military, you're left all alone. You're given the opportunity to just go sit on your couch and live this absolute life of comfort because you believe that's what you desire, but in actuality, you don't. And going out and doing these kinds of things, where you're walking, you're getting exercise, you're dealing with some pain and discomfort, you're experiencing some of the same things that you experienced in the military, like tight boots, uncomfortable boots, blisters. They bring you back and they reconnect you with your experiences that you had in service. And I think that if veterans could get together and do these things as groups, it would be more beneficial than the majority of things that we're doing right now. I don't think that me going and sitting in an office talking to a counselor about my experiences has even a fraction of the benefit that I'm experiencing being out here. And I can also tell you that as someone that doesn't really like being around people, it would be really cool to have somebody else with me that has shared some of my life experiences, that's going through with me with this as well. I think I would enjoy that quite a bit. I don't know, after I get through this December 10th Ruck March, we're going to look at maybe developing something like that. Those are my thoughts on that. Now, if you're still watching, I know it's been 14 minutes, but the reason that I had to shorten my workout today, it is Veterans Day. I'm out for my my training ruck. I was planning on going extra long today, 15 miles plus, because I wanted this to be kind of a walk of remembrance for my friends, my time in service, just an opportunity to kind of be by myself and reflect, but also do something incredibly challenging and push myself. But also I am preparing for a 50 miler. So these things are all important. But with it being Veterans Day and with it being Saturday and my daughter's soccer season is over, she wanted to come with me. Now I know there's no way in hell that she could do 15 miles. I don't think she could even do 12 miles. But what I did decide she's prepared to do is 6 miles. So I am on the Heritage Trail outside of Columbus. It actually connects, it's an old rails to trails. There used to be a railroad going through here. I don't know if you look up, I don't think there's one in here, but I'm coming up on one. There's some of the electric poles that used to go along the railroads. So this used to be a railroad that connects Hilliard, Ohio with Plain City, Ohio. I went out to Plain City and I started there. If you walk in towards Hilliard, it's about 6 miles. And actually it stops at a place called Hilliard Station, remarkably enough. Probably has something to do with the trains. But I have my wife come and she's gonna join me, as well as my 11-year-old daughter. I parked back there. They're gonna park up here at Hilliard Station, and they're gonna walk the second half of this with me, 6 miles back to my truck. She wanted to do this. She wants to be with her dad. She wants to do something with me for Veterans Day, because she knows how important this stuff is to me. But she also wants to show that she's on board with this lifestyle, where she doesn't want to just sit at home and enjoy the comforts of home. She wants to get out and take part in a little bit of pain and suffering with me. So this year for Veterans Day, my 12-mile ruck is extra special, because I'm going to be spending the second half of it with my wife and daughter. I think that's all I'm going to say today. Thanks for watching. Talk to you later.